I know.
I love it.
I'm going Wednesday again, but
To not get it cut off, right?
no, to not get
Okay.
it cut off. But yeah, just to get
All
it done.
right. We should be, I think we're live everywhere. So, Kelly, we are going to just let you, if you're done having technical difficulties.
I'm like, just stay. Everything, just stay.
All right. We're going to let you kick it off, girlfriend.
Okay. This will be short, sweet, and to the point for me, but I just would love to welcome everybody here tonight just for another honest chat with my girlfriends and me. My name is Kelly, and I am joined by Lisa, Dawn, Meredith, and Reagan. I'm not sure who else is going to be chatting tonight, but I just want to officially welcome everybody to just another honest talk. We, find that this is just a safe place for us to share, those topics that sometimes are uncomfortable or awkward, but things that are honest and real, and things that every single one of us is going to go through at some point. Tonight, we're actually going to be talking about women's health, specifically perimenopause and menopause. And like I said, this is something that impacts every single one of us at some point, and others who we love. So for me personally, I was 53 when I started experiencing the personal summers, disrupted sleep, kind of just not being able, I felt like my brain wasn't functioning right. I had brain fog and definitely decreased libido. And, all of it hit me really hard. But I think the hardest part for me personally was just feeling like I was having to say goodbye to the younger version of myself. And I really was, it was kind of like a mourning, and I wasn't fully prepared for it. And honestly, I don't think anybody really knows what to expect. Personally, my mother had a hysterectomy at 40, so she was thrown into menopause overnight. So I didn't know anything about like what kind of leads up to it, that period leading into menopause and then actually being menopausal. So thankfully for me, Green Compass came into my life at 53 years old. And I personally experienced a lot of relief just from CBD, full spectrum CBD, specifically our tincture, helped me immediately, almost, I would say within a month of taking it. My hot flashes diminished. My sleep was improved literally the first night I took it. And I had been somebody who never had trouble with sleep, but at 2 a.m., like clockwork, I would wake up and it was like my brain was on, the squirrels started running around in my brain and would not let me get back to sleep. And I would just toss and turn. So it was just a miserable experience. So again, for me, I knew that there was something really powerful in the hemp plant because of that alone. The sleep was amazing. And then when the hot flashes started to one day I just realized, I was like, oh my God, I haven't had a hot flash today. Like, what's happening? And obviously I started putting two and two together and realized that the CBD was the only thing that had changed in my life. So, this season of life, it looks different for different women. Some people start into perimenopause in their 30s. Typically, I think though, like 40s and like early 50 is really when people start to notice that. But for me, over these past 6 years, being a part of Green Compass and taking these products religiously, it has just changed my life so much and really brought joy back into my life. And I feel like I've discovered me again. And obviously doing some other things as well, different supplements and all natural plant-based for me personally. But it's very easy to feel like you're alone in this. And what I want everybody to know is that you're not. You're surrounded here by a group of women, just other souls who love other people and want to guide you and show you things that have worked for us, things that have helped us. And, we're just really excited to share the newest addition in our Green Compass lineup of products. Women's health is often misunderstood, I think kind of overlooked. You might get something from a doctor like, well, I'm sorry, this is just the way it is. And, you may have something that kind of puts a Band-Aid on things, but Green Compass has listened to the cry from women, specifically for something to help with navigating, this kind of uncharted territory and these choppy waters of midlife. So we're just really excited to bring to you a little bit deeper dive into our new product, which is called Her, and they are full spectrum CBDA nanojellies with very thoughtful ingredients that on their own or as standalone ingredients are very powerful and helpful. But when you put them together, you just have a powerhouse on your hands. So I'm going to turn it over to our resident nurse. She's going to do a little bit deeper dive on the ingredient side of Her and why this is something that's so powerful for you or some other woman in your life who you love, who you feel like could use a little bit of relief. So take it away, Dawn.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So if you've ever watched any of our chats before, you know that I like to geek out on the science. I'm not going to get geeky on the science, but what I will tell you first of all, before I even get into these ingredients, I just want to share a little something with you. I work in the operating room and we have many women of similar ages, right around mid 40s to mid 50s. And we have been having these conversations recently that many of the people that I work with are starting to go through, perimenopause, even super early phases of it, right? Which sometimes are unrecognizable because this is something that creeps in. People can start to experience shifts in the balance of their hormones from the time they're in their early 30s. I mean, some people even before this, right? But that's more of a rarity, right on through into their early 60s. So when we are looking at this product, this actually transcends so much of that gap, right? It really covers so much of that. And even earlier, frankly, in looking into the research on this. However, this is a conversation we've had recently where there are several coworkers that I have who have had these experiences with this shift in their life, in their bodies, in their minds, even, right? And taking this information to their doctors and being basically heartbroken when they leave because they're given very little to no guidance and support. And unfortunately, it seems as though the medical community has way too bigger fish to fry, right? Like there are so many chronic illnesses and acute illnesses that people are going through at such a vast rate that when you mention menopause or perimenopause symptoms, it's brushed off. Well, it's not a big deal. Everybody goes through it. You're going to get through it. And they're really oftentimes, other than an artificial chemical support, which is like artificial hormones, very little is offered to people in the way of guidance. And frankly, there are so many natural products that can ease that transition for so many of us. And it really does. When I didn't know this was coming out, but I was so excited when it did. And then to really take that deep dive into the ingredients has truly warmed my heart because, yet again, I feel like Green Compass has nailed this. They're not just using one or two ingredients and slapping a label on it. This is artfully crafted. So I'm just going to take a moment and kind of go through. I do want you to know that all of these ingredients that I'm mentioning there are peer-reviewed articles, and clinical trials on the ingredients, and that, again, is huge, right? It's one thing to know that you feel better after taking something, but it's amazing when science meets that and can say, "Yes, this is the end result," right? And this is kind of where root cause medicine comes in. If you can figure out the why behind the symptom, then we can help to actually alleviate it by supplementing and nourishing the body with what it needs, which is oftentimes a lack of something. So, all right, first and foremost is a full spectrum CBDA. So, CBDA is the acid form of CBD. It's kind of the precursor, and it's a little bit different than CBD. It is a powerhouse. And so, it's pretty rare in any supplements for women, to be honest with you. And if I'm not mistaken, we might have the only supplement for women on the market that has CBDA in it. Not surprising. However, it is responsible um, to help with things like inflammation, nausea, stress, hormonal headaches, sleep, brain fog. That checks the list for like 90% of us, right? Then we roll into other things. So even if you didn't know what CBDA is, you're going to know what this one is: organic ginger root. Guys, I use this analogy all the time. When you were a little kid, I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, right? Most of us know this. When we were little kids, if you had a bellyache, what happened? Somebody gave you ginger ale. That's because ginger ale has medicinal properties to it. We know it aids in digestion, it helps with nausea, all these other things. So organic ginger root has been absolutely one of the most trusted natural remedies across cultures globally for thousands of years. Helps with, guess what? I had no idea about this. Ginger root helps with night sweats, hot flashes, sleep, inflammation, nausea, kind of an overall sense of health and wellness, and eases digestive upset, which is a no brainer. We knew that. I'm going to save the chasteberry for the last. Okay, then vitamin B6. Um, so there's two things here that kind of play off of each other, which I love. The vitamin B6, it's basically activates 5-HTP, so it can actually convert into serotonin. If you don't know what serotonin is, just think like happy hormone, right? I'm going to oversimplify and say that. Oftentimes, we're seeing people that do not have enough serotonin being released, and that's when we start to see, the blues, anxiousness, things like that. So that B6 playing off of the 5-HTP helps with things like irregular periods, hot flashes, night sweats, mood regulation, sleep, nausea, bone loss. We don't talk about this, but bone loss is huge. That's why you also need to be on the CBG, and that's found in our collagen. Cholesterol changes, energy level, brain fog, brain health, overall brain health, and helps convert the 5-HTP to serotonin, like I said. Now, we're also layering in the 5-HTP because without it, the B6 only does so much, and we're kind of missing the boat without it. So it's kind of like taking vitamin D and magnesium and K2 together, right? They all help each other synergistically. So the 5-HTP with the CBDA, they work together as a mood stabilizing, stress easing powerhouse, basically. So it's like turning on the faucet, right, to your serotonin levels. It's allowing it to be produced and utilized and flowing. It helps with mood, sleep, hormone regulation, and it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier and really, again, makes everything work synergistically together. Okay, last but not least, this is the one that I was the least familiar with, in all honesty. And this is truly like the cornerstone ingredient here. And I love that it is so simple, right? This is organic chasteberry. So it's a time-honored botanical that has always been used by holistic medicine for hormonal balance. Clinical research backs this up as well. So we know, again, science, there's science behind all this saying that it really does help to normalize your progesterone levels, which is huge during basically most phases of a woman's life, which then the chasteberry itself, and just so you know I have a funny accent, but it's CHASTE, chaste. Okay. So it helps with libido, irregular periods, vaginal dryness, bladder issues, which is oftentimes spasticity for a lot of women, which can cause oftentimes incontinence, leaking, things like that. Again, hormone balance, sleep. Okay, but the way that this helps with sleep is that it actually helps melatonin, your naturally occurring melatonin in your body, to be released. That's really what is supposed to happen when we sleep. It doesn't happen enough, though, because of other disruptions in our systems upstream, and that creates an issue. Then people take melatonin exogenously, like from the outside, and that is a double-edged sword because it might help you sleep that night, but it also drives down your own ability to make it on its own. So you really do not want to be taking melatonin for sleep. But this organic chaseberry is going to help regulate the release of your melatonin. Also helps with mood swings, hot flashes, night sweats. So it really, when you kind of just break down those 5 ingredients, it's amazing. And it truly is essentially like a symphony of support that targets the root cause of all of these points of pain points. And it really helps your body to regulate a healthy sleep pattern, balance those hormones, release those natural levels of serotonin that oftentimes we are missing. And again, hot flashes, night sweats, inflammation, this host of things that happens to the body as we go through menopause. I will tell you, I have only been on it for a little over a week, and it is hot in my house right now. But I will tell you, in general, my night sweats are actually improving. I did not want to go on and say anything about this product until I took it and had my own good results. But I will tell you right off the bat, that is one of the first things that I'm noticing is at night, especially, I no longer feel like I have to like get up, strip off every piece of clothing I'm wearing, go get a towel and lay it down on my sheets. If anybody has been there, you know what I'm talking about. So, all right, I'm going to pop this over to Tara, actually, and she's got a really good testimonial.
Hey, you guys. Oh my gosh. I love hearing, I'm a nurse too. I love science. Is like my jam, just hearing all the things. So, and what's crazy is everything, I do have a testimonial for the her jelly. And I started using the her jelly. I used it before we launched the product. I was in a test group, and it was probably mid-August is when I started using it. And I it all makes sense now that you hear Dawn talk about the functions of all the ingredients and all of that. I did not know what I was taking at the time. So, and they didn't want us to know what we were taking at the time. So anyway, it was more just like, this is going to be for all stages of menopause and that type of thing. So I'm 52 years old. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 29 years and I love science. I was the biggest skeptic of CBD in the whole wide world when I got involved with Green Compass and all that. But my story is kind of like, I just was thrown into menopause this year at 51 back in January, super hard because I was somebody who'd taken a birth control pill for all the years. Checked my hormones at 49 years old, was told, go back on the pill. You're not even close to menopause. So I never experienced perimenopause symptoms. Like I was never gradually thrown into it. But at 51, the doctor said, go off of it, go off of your birth control pill. Let's check your levels. Well, within 2 weeks, I was thrown into a hot mess express, and literally all the things happened to me. I started having night sweats where I thought I had peed the bed. I wasn't sure what had happened. It was that bad. And it hit so hard so fast because I was already in full on menopause. So I never experienced like gradual heat feelings or those, just like the little nudges of, your mood and things like don't go well and the hot flashes. Everybody had explained them to me and mine weren't like that. All of a sudden I was dying. I thought I was dying. And so I went through it the first of this year and I had to, and praise the Lord, I was already taking CBD because my OBGYN literally said to me, I think you're managing this well. I said, well, I cannot imagine my life without CBD, like how hard this would be for a woman who did not have anything in their body. And she agreed. She was like, I agree with you. So fast forward so I kind of went through 2 or 3 months of really hard hit, hot flashes and things like that. Took a few different supplements with my CBD, basically got a lot of that balanced. But I can tell you, I didn't know what was still lacking until I used the her jelly. And for me, the Her Jelly, I started using it, and within, I took it for a couple of nights. I took it at night, and I noticed kind of like my sleep was a little bit better, but I was already sleeping pretty good. It was when I really changed to the daytime taking the product on a regular basis during the day in the morning that I really started to notice a difference in my mood. And all I can say is it was like an uplift in mood, kind of like I explain it like a light feeling, like just, where things are so heavy. As a mother, I'm an empty nester, but I still, I work as a nurse and, managing all the things. It doesn't matter what stage of life. We as women have a lot on our brain, a lot going on in our heads, whether it's stress or all the things. So I noticed that on a regular basis after the first week, I was like, I think I'm feeling just like a great uptick in mood. But I can tell you, I've been married to my husband for 29 years. One of the biggest things I noticed, and this is, I feel like I love to talk about things that are taboo. That's just me. I love to talk about things women don't really want to talk about. Whether my husband wants me to talk about them or not in public on Facebook, I don't know. But here we go. So anyway, one of the things that I loved about this product is women, and in this age group, you struggle with menopause, with your mood, with your mind. And I swear to you, everything is controlled by your mind. That also includes your physical connection with your spouse. So I completely noticed a desire, like where Kelly was talking about libido and things like that. We all know things like that happen as you get older. And with this, I can't tell you what the science is, but I can tell you how I felt. And I can tell you that my desire to have more of a physical connection with my husband was definitely enhanced. I can tell you that our time together was more enhanced. And things like, I'm just going to put it out there, like vaginal dryness and things like that are a big deal. And how in the world could this product help with all the things plus something like that? It doesn't make sense, right? It goes in your mouth. So no, I'm not going to say anything. There we go. So anyway, but my point is, you guys, it's a jelly you can swallow. It's a jelly you can use. Meredith and Kelly, you are making me blush. Okay. But y'all, the greatest thing is just think of the things that and this is real life, y'all. I mean, we're laughing about these things because I love to talk about stuff like this, and I love to laugh about it because if I keep talking, it's going to happen again. But my point being, you guys, my mood, my uplift, my shift, my stress was less in my mind, my time. And because your mind controls your intimate activity with your spouse and your thoughts about your spouse and your family, your interaction with people, I felt like I was less triggered by things that would normally just bother me throughout the day. But it's funny because not only did I notice a change in my connection with my spouse, but my husband did too. And I mean, that's a big deal. We want to, it's a big deal to get to our age. And, men have their issues at this age and women do too. And it's something that needs to be talked about on a regular basis. Like, how awesome as a nurse that we have a product that I can offer to my friends and say, just try this, like use it. I mean, we know the science and the serotonin and all that stuff and what it does. And I know that, but still in my mind, my science brain is, does it really do all that? Well, I can just tell you how I felt. And this is a big deal, you guys. And it's just so exciting. The price point is ridiculous. It's $59. And it's something that this is like packed with so many amazing things. And what I love the most is I've gotten texts from my friends that said, I'm not going to say his name because you're going to know who it is. But my friend said, I think Steve, I'm just going to put it Steve. Steve really likes these jellies too. So it's not just me, right? And I was just with a girlfriend yesterday that said, I'm not kidding. Like, what in the world? My husband was like floored. Okay. So I'm just putting it out there, y'all. This is great. What we women need to feel like ourselves. We need to I mean, does it hurt to want to feel like, I mean, but a lot of people think they can't even feel like this anymore. This is something everybody should use and try and just give it a go. And, it's science, it's proven, it's what we know works, and it's plant-based, it's safe for you. And so I love it.
Okay. So that was amazing, Tara. Absolutely love it. Rena is
Did you
killing
like
me in the
that?
comments. But y'all, I mean, we've never sugarcoated anything that we've come up here and said. We've always promised to keep it real with you, and that is exactly what we're doing. I've taken the jellies consistently for about 2 weeks now. I agree with the uptick in mood. I am also taking mine first thing in the morning. And I've seen an uptick in mood. And Lisa has talked about a tingle related to libido, and I would also agree with that. I am interested to see what it looks like over the next couple of months. Because let's also be honest, not everybody has super quick results like Tara did. Sometimes we have to get these things into our system. Sometimes our systems are so depleted that it takes a little bit for things like CBD to kind of get the body back to where it's in balance. So I would highly recommend, if you're someone who's new to CBD, period, or just new to this product, period, give it a solid 90 days. Okay. Commit to that 90 days. Make sure you're taking it every single day. And again, like a lot of our products, this might be something for those who are new to it, might need to start at a little bit lesser dose, but talk to your advocate about that and discuss your previous, experience with all things hemp and CBD, and then, make an educated guess. But I will tell you, it's working for so many people, and there's a lot of people that are having really good results very early on, we're seeing. I'm just so thankful that as a woman who is 44 years old, my mother is 84. So we are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. She comes from a time and era where you just didn't talk about that kind of stuff. I'm thankful that my mom is a lot more open about those things, but still, I've never gotten a discussion from her on how her experience with menopause and perimenopause went. She was going through those things while I was still in high school. So I'm super thankful to be surrounded by a group of women that are, a little bit more advanced in this stage than what I am, have already started in it, or in the throes of it, or on the other side of it. And I'm super thankful to have been with Green Compass for as long as I have, and for them to recognize that our healthcare system is kind of lacking a whole lot when it comes to women's health. And they've just decided we're tired of waiting. We're tired of hearing the women in our group, in our circles, who are suffering with this day in and day out. What was the stat? 45% of women in the United States right now are going through perimenopause or menopause. And 60% of those women have had no discussion or help with it so far as their healthcare team is concerned. So that's a large number. You're talking about almost half the women in the nation are going through the change of life. That is scary. I'm not going to lie. That is real scary, especially for these poor men that are walking around like, what is happening right now? So I want you to, if you are a potential customer, a current customer, a previous customer, never even thought about it person, reach out to the person that invited you or tagged you into this call, and let us talk to you a little bit more about what we're seeing from other people that are in our friend groups that are getting experiences with these products. And then Dawn Edmonds just mentioned there's a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of males who are paying attention to these posts too, because these guys are, let's not sugarcoat it, they're suffering through it too. They're not going through all the physical stuff, but they're having to watch the women in their lives go through this transition, lose the spark of the woman that they used to be, And, like Tara had mentioned, all of that stuff affects your physical and therefore your emotional relationship with your spouse. So, this is not just a big thing for just the women. This can be a big thing for the family as a whole, especially as you have women who are transitioning from a period of having children in the house and they're getting older, the children are exiting the house, and then it's just them and their spouse. That time and that connection with your spouse is super important, especially once you get to an empty nester stage. But I've kind of drifted off the side here. We appreciate you coming tonight. We are so very excited for this product, and y'all hold on to your hats because this is just the first product in a line of women's wellness that Green Compass is very carefully cultivating. If this has interested you to the point where you're like, I love what they're doing, I love what that company is standing for, and I love the products that they're putting out, we have an offer right now for anybody who joins with 2 of our hemp collections. You get a jar of the Her Nano Jellies for free through the 30th of the month. So that's the last day of the month, September the 30th. If you have any questions about that, again, reach out to the person that invited you here. We would love to have you on this mission that we are so passionate about, and we are seeing quite literally change people's lives. And we have hundreds of thousands of stories that we could tell you and share with you about people of all ages, all sexes, all different phases of life. So just reach out. We hope to hear from you soon. If you are still wanting to be a fly on the wall, we will have more calls coming up over the next several weeks, more testimonials that are hitting our stories and our feeds and things like that. So keep an eye out. Don't disappear under the rock. If you want to watch from the sidelines for a little bit, I get it. We've all been there at some point, but I promise you, this is not a situation where it's too good to be true. This has been in a company and a group of people that are quite literally making differences day in and day out in people's lives that are making huge impacts in a world that needs a huge impact right now. So thank you for joining. I hope y'all laughed a little, cried a little, and most of all, got a little 30 minutes of enjoyment out of this. So have a great night, and we will see you next time.